there's a hotline you can call with any questions. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on vaccines, booster shots, and testing sites. Right now, booster shots are available to anyone over the age of 18 for those who are eligible. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline can also help with housing, food, medical, and educational support. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19, vaccinations, booster shots, or testing, please call 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org. Don't fall for vaccine misinformation. Local medical professionals are available to answer any of your questions. Initial shots and boosters are safe for people who are pregnant and even young children. Right now, vaccines are available for anyone over 6 months of age, and boosters are available for anyone over the age of 5. This message brought to you by the Native American Community Clinic. Find a vaccination site by calling 651-304-9986 or visit vaccineconnector.mn.gov.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for clear skies tonight with a low around 67, Thursday sunny with a high near 88, and Friday partly cloudy with a high near 93. Vinaigrette is locally owned and has been offering the finest olive oils and vinegars since 2009. They have everything from darker white balsamic to cold-pressed extra virgin olive oils from all over the world. Vinaigrette is located at 50th and Xerxes in Minneapolis or at vinaigrettemn.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be Indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi, to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot, and here with Wendy Pilot and Ogama with the news. We discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Wendy, Native issues are human issues. And human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Native Roots Trading Post at the Minnesota State Fair, starting Thursday, August 25th through Monday, September 5th. Be there.
Or be square.
Or be square. I was getting a little confused. Native Roots Trading Post.
You were with our godchildren today, so you're
worn
out. You're worn out. So, but hey, so we're going to be, what are we doing tomorrow?
We are leaving for Cooperstown, New York to go to the Baseball Hall of Fame to watch some inductees get inducted to the Hall of Fame. That's going to be pretty exciting.
Well, I'm 61 and childhood.
You're 61?
I'm 49 and I'm 61 and my favorite ball players were, of course, the Minnesota Twins and Tony Oliva and Jim Cott, who played not only for the Twins but the Senators and also the White Sox. So you people out there in Chicago listening to us too, He was a White Sox and he played with the Yankees and the Cardinals. He played 25 years and finally gets in the Hall of Fame. And I just saw it was Tony Oliva's 84th birthday. What a shame that he couldn't have been a Hall of Famer a lot longer in his life. So I think that's kind of the travesty, but better late than never. Tonio is just a great ambassador of baseball. But hey, before I turn this into a baseball show, Wendy, why don't we go with Ogama with the news that you don't hear anywhere else? I can't talk. Oh.
Hi, Anim Buju, everybody. I'm Ogama Ganuikwe. I'm a citizen of the Red Lake Nation in northern Minnesota, and I've got some news for you here on Native Roots Radio. Exciting news for tomorrow on Zoom and in person. Winona LeDuc is going to be testifying on behalf of the Shell River 7. The Shell River 7 was a group of 6 elder women and a photojournalist who were arrested along the Shell River in northern Minnesota on July 19th of 2021. So just a little bit more than a year ago. Their names are Winona LeDuc, Kelly Miracle, Trish Weber, Cheryl Brands, Mary Klein, and Barbara With. They sat in lawn chairs on the banks of the river and chained themselves to one another to protect the water. A photographer named Kay Flo Rozowski was also arrested while working on assignment to cover the ceremony, and water protectors in canoes and on horseback prayed in solidarity with their action to stop Line 3, which is a tar sands pipeline bringing 760,000 barrels of oil per day across 340 miles of the upper Mississippi River Basin in northern and central Minnesota on 1855 and 1854 treaty territories of the Anishinaabe people. So tomorrow, Winona LeDuc will be testifying, and she will take the stand as a witness in a contested omnibus evidentiary hearing for the Shell River 7. You can view the hearing via Zoom. It's now got like a hybrid person remote, and the hearing is going to begin promptly at 9 a.m. If you're an early riser and you would like to go down and support, you can go to the Drop the Charges rally immediately preceding the hearing at about 8:30 a.m. in person. It's going to be at the Wadena County Courthouse at 415 Jefferson Street in Wadena. And we will share the links for the 9 a.m. Zoom, and there's a Facebook event as well for this one. So if you are interested in supporting water protectors, that is a good event for you tomorrow. Robert, this just came in today, and I wanted to touch base on this. I know that we are all still almost a year now. I think it's been about 9 months since photojournalist and filmmaker Myron Dewey passed away. Myron Dewey was a Walker River Paiute tribe member.
Right. And they finally, with the family pushing it, they finally have convicted somebody of a head-on accident with him that we didn't know anything about originally. We just thought he crashed by himself. But also, Wendy, I don't know if you remember this, but when we were at Standing Rock, we got our press pass from Myron. So he's one of the first people we met when we went to Standing Rock.
I remember him.
Yeah. And he's been documented and yeah. So yeah, our prayers are out to the family, and hopefully justice is being served right now.
Exactly, yes. So Nye County District Attorney's Office, so that's out of Reno, Nevada, charged a man named John Walsh with driving under the influence resulting in death and reckless driving resulting in death, and he will face up to 20 years in prison if he's convicted. Our friend and relative that we've had on Native Roots Radio, Walker River Paiute Tribal Chairman Amber Torres, told Native News Online that she was glad to see justice being served for the survivors of Myron Dewey's family. And we definitely second that. And I just want to second a level of frustration here as well, because initially when it was reported that Myron Dewey had died in a car accident on September 26th of 2021 while driving in Nye County, Nevada, they made it sound like he was out there by himself, like it was just some sort of freak accident. They didn't acknowledge in any media anywhere that there was another car involved. And there's other news sources that are cited from Native News Online as well, saying that the man who's now been taken in for the death of Myron Dewey, Walsh, had levels of cannabinoids in his blood test after he was taken to the hospital for injuries resulting in the car accident. But for some reason, his tests were overlooked at the Nye County Sheriff's Department. then close the case. So it's kind of typical to what happens with a lot of, missing and murdered Indigenous people. The police do not look into this. So I'm really glad to hear his family's taken action to do that. Other big news that's coming out, the American Journalism Project is investing $3.15 million in 3 local nonprofit news organizations. And the reason why this is pertinent to Indian country is because one of those organizations is ICT, or formerly Indian Country Today, which is big news. That's very exciting. Indian Country Today is actually owned by Indig Public Media, and they're now called ICT, and they're based in Phoenix, Arizona. So for them to get that award and to make sure that they're going to get some portion of that money, it's really exciting. So it looks like they're going to be building on current efforts in Washington, D.C. and Alaska, and ICT plans to use the new funding to build shared reporting relationships in 7 communities throughout the U.S., with the ultimate goal of building local bureaus throughout the country. So that is very exciting. Currently, their broadcast ICT newscast with Aaliyah Chavez is carried on 39 stations in the United States, Canada, and Australia, and on tribal radio stations. There's 97 community access stations and numerous cable and streaming services. So this is really very exciting that ICT is going to get a grant to be able to expand a little bit further. It's we're going to be seeing a lot more of ICT news, I think, and that is going to be fantastic, in my opinion. And then we just got another quick news brief in right before the show started as well. The United Nations Human Rights Council has called for the immediate release of Leonard Peltier. In Geneva, the United Nations Human Rights Council Working Group on Arbitrary Detention distributed its opinion, and it calls for the immediate release of Leonard Peltier. If you don't know, Leonard Peltier is an Indigenous rights activist who has been incarcerated by the U.S. government for the last 47 years. Many believe he's been wrongfully incarcerated. In its opinion, the United Nations Human Rights Council Working Group on Arbitrary Detention said that they found Mr. Peltier's detention was arbitrary and in contravention with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. So here's hoping that I live to see Leonard Peltier's release.
Yeah, and here's to all of us that, and Wendy ends the show in a good way every day, saying free Leonard Peltier. So, of course, we put tobacco out for him and his family and this wrongful incarceration for over 40-some years. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and up next we're going to be with a super guest from the Little Moments Count. We'll be right back after the short break.
Stay with us.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
College textbooks have never been more expensive. In fact, textbook costs can make college unaffordable to many prospective students. That's especially true for Native Americans. But a new initiative called Course Breaks wants to help with textbook costs for Native American students. Course Breaks partners with book publishers and tribal colleges and universities to provide free textbooks. But Course Breaks needs your help to continue their mission. Become a donor to help Indigenous students continue their education. To discuss a corporate or private contribution, visit coursebreaks.com.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice. And Ogama also has a brought to you by.
Yes, this part of the show is going to be brought to you by the Little Moments Count campaign. Little Moments Count is a statewide collaborative focused on helping parents and caregivers learn about the importance of brain development in the first 3 years of life. And Robert, we have a guest about that. If you would like more information, you can go to littlemomentscount.org.
Perfect. Hey, we're here with Barb Faber, and she is the CEO of Indigenous Visioning and All Nations Rise. Barb, I'd love you to introduce yourself. And first, before you do, I just want to say Native Roots is really, radio is really excited to partner with you with the Little Moment Count to host conversations focused on early childhood development, which is just so super, super important. So, Barb, please introduce yourself.
Bonjour, everybody. Thank you, and I'm so excited to be on here. My name is Barb Faber, and I'm an Ojibwe member of the White Earth Nation here in beautiful Minnesota. And I am CEO of Indigenous Visioning and president of the new All Nations Rise nonprofit to work with tribes in tribal communities to improve circumstances for our families and increase opportunities and create healthy families, healthy children, and healthy communities.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do? You know, this is a big, big subject and really big in Indian country that we really need to pay attention to.
Yeah, definitely. So I worked for my tribe for about 30 years. And in that capacity, a lot of it was around early childhood. I also worked for Indian Child Welfare, and I seen the conditions our families are facing when they go through the system. And you know, I always wondered when we had to remove a child from their home, no matter what the circumstances, that child still loved their mom, their dad, and vice versa. So I knew I wanted to be farther up in the river to prevent that. So I started to work in the early childhood field where we love to empower parents with information around brain development and child development. And we were so serious about it. In 2001, we started what we thought was going to be a little training, turned out to be a national brain development conference. It was the Communities Collaborative Brain Development Conference, and I ran it for 17 years. And just the information that we gained from that was just, it changed my life. And when we know that children, you know, from birth to 3, that's where they're really learning. That's where their brains are formed. And then 0 to 5, it's critical. I know one of our presenters, Dr. Todd Risley, he wrote a book on that, on meaningful differences. And in that book, it literally changed my my view of things. So it had children from high income families, middle income families arrive at kindergarten with 35 to 40,000 word vocabulary, which is fabulous. However, children from low income and children of color, they're arriving at school with 3,000 to 4,000 words. So
Wow.
that's where our achievement gaps are starting.
Well, and is some of that where our children aren't being read to, our parents are so tired, there's all these things going on that, they're trying to put food on the table and they're not really possibly sitting down and reading with them, or where are the big issues on this?
Well, you're absolutely right. Families are just trying to make ends meet and then get the necessities done. And so little moments count. When I became a member of that many years ago, I was drawn to it because it is so basic and so simple, but also important for a child. So even if parents don't have time to read a book, that's fine. There's so many things like if you're cooking supper, allowing children to cook supper and talking to them, singing to them, that 0 to 3 is so critical. It develops their brain and their language, and so the more they're like sponges, their little brains are sponges, and in that time they need everybody around them to talk to them, to play, sing, anything, to get that vocabulary up.
It's interesting because Wendy and I have two godchildren that speak Spanish and English.
Mhm.
And what it was amazing to me is the father speaks Spanish and the mother speaks English, but she speaks Spanish too. And what's amazing to me is that they didn't talk for a very long time. So this goes into what you're saying. Their brain was like getting connected, and all of a sudden, when they did start talking, they were fluent Spanish and English speaking. It was crazy.
Mhm. Oh, and our kids pick up our language. Of course, we all know the harmful effects of historical trauma and the boarding school era.
Mhm.
And so, that we're also dealing with that, and we don't even know it. And so the school system, the education system, it's not a trusted place for us. And so, and then that's why, those first 5 years when the child is at home, and that's where little moments really want to focus on. And so before they get school, we need grandmas, grandpas, brothers, sisters, parents just to read and talk and sing. Little Moments provides a lot of opportunities, a lot of information to parents and caregivers about it. And so, yeah, that's why I fell in love with them, because they are spot on about making a difference in a child's life and leveling the playing field. And so, we don't have to have a degree. We don't have to have, any kind of college degree to read to our kids. And just, even doing laundry, talking about the colors, counting the socks. I mean, it's very simple, basic stuff, but it's so impactful.
Wow. Ogama, you got a question?
I just read something recently and it made me laugh, and I can't remember where I read it, but it said if it doesn't matter whether you sing your child Mary Had a Little Lamb or Snoop Dogg, as long as they're getting the interaction with you, that's what counts. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I thought that that made it really accessible for people. And that's exactly what you're talking about. It doesn't have to be structured necessarily.
Right, right. And the neurons in that time period, they're connecting, and that's when they're most active. And as the child gets older, it starts to be less active and less connection. So that's why those first 5 years are so important, because it's supporting those connections, and just really so beneficial. I know, and when we talk to parents, in my previous position, we gave away thousands and thousands of books to families, and we realized that some of the families may not been able to read it. And so, and we just said, make up your own story. You don't have to read the words on the page. Make up your own story that goes with the picture.
And Wendy here with our godchild too has read stories for our godchildren, especially during COVID, and recorded them and sent them to them. And I think one of them was a little scary, Wendy, but it was still, they loved it. And that's what you're talking about. Hey, do you have time? I would really like to, we got to take a break here pretty soon. And I'd like to just talk to you about maybe what the step 1, step 2, and how people can get help. I know we have, for more information, you can visit at littlemomentscount.org, and that's ORG. Let's talk a little bit about your organization again, and a little bit more about how this really works.
Yeah, I'd like to know how do people find you? Are you out in the community finding parents, and how that works?
Yeah, they can go to our website to contact me, indigenousvisioning.com. And happy to connect you to resources, and that's what we do. Our organization works within tribal communities to support children and families. So
perfect. We'll be right back. Stay with us, please, Barb. Okay. All right.
Okay, I'm here.
All right, on. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Stay with us.
COVID levels may be falling, but the virus is still around. Stay healthy and up to date on your COVID vaccinations and boosters. Right now, everyone 6 months and older is eligible to get a vaccination, while everyone 5 and up is eligible for the booster shot. Plus, you're eligible for a second booster if you're over 50 and received an initial booster dose at least 4 months ago. Find a vaccination site by calling 651-304-9986 or visit vaccineconnector.mn.gov. This message brought to you by the Native American Community Clinic.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hello, Minneapolis. It's Randy Rhodes on your radio in the heart of the Midwest every weeknight from 10 to midnight on AM 950.
It's an absolute must for any true foodie. Vinaigrette at 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis offers premium oils and vinegars for the most discriminating of tastes. This is Sarah Piepenberg, owner of Vinaigrette. We bottle on site, there's no guesswork, and you get to taste test each and every oil and vinegar we offer. Our direct relationship with the growers ensures an uncompromised level of satisfaction. When you need to know you're cooking with the finest ingredients, first contact the independently owned Vinaigrette, 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis. Online at vinaigrettemn.com.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Hot July days are best enjoyed with family and friends at the backyard barbecue with your favorite summer foods. But before you know it, you've got those sticky pop spills and barbecue stains all over the place. Lucky for you, Zero Res can get those sweet sticky messes out of your home with no problem. Zero Res has your back on carpet, tile, area rug, and upholstery cleanings, and their experienced technicians know the best care for each of the unique surfaces in your home. And don't forget about your air ducts. If they're dirty, your indoor air quality suffers. Trust the cleaning heroes at Zero Res to safely clean years of built-up dust and gunk out of your air ducts as your air conditioner swirls through the summer. Schedule your summer cleaning today at ZeroResMinnesota.com with the AM 950 special to get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129 and take $100 off any air duct cleaning service. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Hi, I'm Rachel Shamblatt. My dad is Dr. Scott Shamblatt from Shamblatt Family Dentistry. A lot of people are afraid of the dentist, but you don't have to be. My dad makes going to the dentist comfortable and even fun. He won't be mad if you haven't seen a dentist in a long time. He just wants to take care of you and your teeth. If you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblatt Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblattfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Think your company's safe? Your staff is working from home, right? As I speak, cyber criminals are mounting attacks across the country. Remember, when we're weakest, cyber criminals attack. Hi, Mark Sommerfeld from Rymark. The Rymark team is guiding our clients through these difficult times. In fact, demand has been so high, we created an easy-to-follow guide. It's yours free. Download our 5 steps to securely work from home now at rymarkit.com or call 651-328-8900 for a no-cost how-to discussion.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for clear skies tonight with a low around 67, Thursday sunny with a high near 88, and Friday partly cloudy with a high near 93. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces can help you find a place for fire that works in your life. They have clean wood burning, convenient gas burning, and easy to install electric stoves and fireplaces for both in your home and outdoors too. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977. Or at woodlandstoves.com.
This is another edition of Honor the Earth, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Awake.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Little Moments Counts. Little Moments Count is a statewide collaborative focus program on helping parents and caregivers learn about the importance of brain development in the first 3 years of life.
Wow. Great read, Wendy. Awesome. Hey, this is Robert Pilot, and we're with Barb Faber, and she's the CEO of Indigenous Visioning and All Nations Rise, and we're talking about Little Moments Count. And I have a really quick question because, Barb, I'm not sure if you know this, but we're on quite a few channels across the country live. We're in Wisconsin big time, and Chicago and Michigan and Milwaukee and and Chicago. I'm naming the same places like there's more of them, but I just named a whole bunch of the same places. But is how they can get in touch with you at littlemomentscount.org, and that's anywhere in the country, right? That can get a hold of you.
Yeah, pretty much. The campaign is in Minnesota, Western Wisconsin, Twin Cities Metro, but just about anywhere these days you can contact our Reach Little Moments Count. And our goal on Little Moments Count is to help parents and influencers like childcare, shelters, libraries, healthcare, religious organizations, and more understand why playing and talking, reading, singing with children is so crucial to building brain power and increasing equity. We talked about the achievement gap. So we want advocates and people to help us take action and recognize that, it is so critical to our child's development. And yes, you can go to littlemomentscount.org, and they have parenting resources. They have awesome resources on anti-racism, COVID-19, and activity sheets. And there's information on their texting program. And I really encourage people to, I'm on that. And I don't have little kids, I have grandchildren, but I'm on that texting program, and it's just amazing. You just get these simple texts that are motivational and easy to read.
Wow. Ogama, do you have a question about those texts?
No question other than that I have my phone out and I'm signing up for those right now. I didn't know that this existed. My first child is 9, but now that I have a second child, I'm really excited to have this to just even remind me to take that extra time with her every day, to read her a story or to sing her a song or narrate what I'm doing as an adult or, a pretend adult.
Absolutely.
It's so important, Barb, what you're talking about, because one statement you made in the last segment with information is king, and like what your statement was, we didn't even know that we are being short-sighted and these things that were bad that happened to us, whether it was these residential schools or just genocide in general, that we have this deep and we're not the only ones, but we're talking specifically about Native Americans right now. We have this deep hurt that we don't understand where it's from. And I'm an old high school teacher, and I've seen it, and I try to give our kids positive influence and also know that it's not a race, that these kids will figure it out and they're good people. But this being traumatized, like you talked about earlier, is just we don't even know it half the time.
Well, and then if a child is showing up at kindergarten and they're not ready, they're traumatized again because they're behind, you know, behind their peers, and it's about catching up. It's not about learning, it's about catching up.
Wow, really good points. Wen, do you have any questions or anything? Because
No, I
that's
just
amazing.
think I was just reading an article about when your baby falls asleep, wait until they're like really, really sleeping, like after 2 hours when they're in their REM sleep, and give them positive reinforcement during that time. Like if they're having trouble at school with, something,
Right.
you could just like talk to them and tell them tomorrow you're going to have a great day at school and things are going to be okay. You just stay positive. You're terrific. And just give them that positive reinforcement while they're sleeping. And it's supposed to resonate with them. So when they wake up in the morning, it's kind of like, in their brain. So I thought that was very interesting.
Great. Well, I think we all need that.
Yeah,
I think we all do too.
Well, I was thinking when you said that, I had that almost when I was older, and I didn't know any better, and I believed the person that I could do anything I wanted to. You know what I mean? So it takes a village. I hate to say that, but that's the way. But I don't hate to say this. That's the way Native American communities are. We all want to help raise our kids. Like, I have aunties and gagas and nannies that go, that are just awesome in my life, and they're not in particular related to me, but yes, they are in a good way.
Oh, definitely. And I remember as a child and hearing, it was kind of normal for children to be seen and not heard. I mean, it's just, because everybody had rules and jobs and duties, and we had a village to take care of. Well, it's kind of, we've pivoted from that because we know about brain development and how important that is. And for years, people just didn't think that reading to an infant, he's sleeping or he can't understand my words. Well, actually, those words, just talking to him every day is, having those neurons just connect like crazy. So, reading it to infants is so important. I can't stress it. So like I said, I was so moved, and so many of my team, my program, were moved that we needed to bring that information to our little rural reservation. And so for 17 years I ran it, we had national speakers come to this little reservation, like the late Todd Risley. And it's just and we had anywhere from 800 to 1,200 people come from all over Minnesota and the tri-state area. And because it was such a need, and this was back in the early 2000s when brain development was just really up and coming. And so read the research. It's out there, and it's important.
One of our loyal listeners, and I should say a person that watches us on Facebook, Nina said, babies know what you're saying before they can talk. And that's so important to know, because like you said, before the 2000s, we didn't believe that.
Right. And so, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Again, going back to, if a parent can't read, well, that's okay. They can talk, they can sing. And just having those moments, little moments with the littles.
I see what you did there. Good one. And Alice, one of our great listeners too, lullabies are so important and can be so powerful, healing, and teach such important ways. That is so true, because we were brought up with lullabies in a lot of different ways, but also it's contradicting too. Little pictures should be seen and not heard. So that was a really good point that you brought up there too, Barb. It's like we're in a new way of thinking, and you've been leading the way just it's an amazing work, an amazing discussion, because we always talk about how important our youth is, and your boots on the ground.
Yeah. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to, interrupt you. I'm watching a series on Netflix right now called Babies. And they are doing all this research, finding out how much babies really know. And it's really astonishing how much they know. I mean, way before that they can talk. They're studying, they put these little things all over the baby's head, and the baby could recognize different things, and the brain waves are going as they're seeing their mom. They're having a different reaction to when they see a stranger, and it's just really amazing. Yeah.
And you been hanging out with our little niece too.
My great niece. Yeah, she just turned 8 months old, and she's just amazing. And my niece talks to her constantly and reads to her all the time. And I mean, she can't say any words. She just kind of babbles around.
But she recognized you because you were there every day.
Yeah, it's really funny. It's really just amazing how much babies and little children know, far beyond what we think that they do.
Well, Barb, I want to thank you for being on. Again, for more information, you can visit littlemomentscount.org. I really appreciate you being on and sharing this space with us.
Oh, miigwech. And we'll talk to you next month. And just literally go to the Little Moments Count website. You'll see a lot of information and resources there. So
yeah. Pinagigi, thank you. Well, that's a segue now, Wendy. We got another guest with us, and we're really excited. We've been as long as our show's been around, we've had this organization sponsor us, be on the show. Yep. And I think I might have seen somebody when I was in New Mexico there. I'm not sure if you were there, Lori.
Yes,
but
I was.
Right to your booth and said, wait a minute, I know this organization. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, we got you here for a couple minutes, and then we're going to take a break and then really get a deep dive. So, Lori, can you tell us who you're with? And, StrongHearts Native Helpline is so important, and just tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll jump into another segment with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So StrongHearts Native Helpline is the first national helpline for Native Americans and Alaska Natives that may be impacted by domestic and sexual violence. We are 24/7, anonymous and confidential, and really just want to be there for our relatives that need us.
Yeah, very important, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation. Wendy, really just a great partner of Native Roots Radio over the years, and it's really always good to talk to you. And we're going to take a quick break here and come back and talk.
That's right. We will be with Lori Jump, the Chief Executive Officer from StrongHearts Native Helpline.
Good. Very good, Wendy. And you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and some more people that are boots on the ground, and we really appreciate their information. So really, really excited to be speaking with Lori in the next break, or in the next segment.
Stay with us. Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Course Breaks helps provide free digital textbooks to college students in underserved communities. But how does it work? Course Breaks works with a network of publishers that provide free digital textbooks to students with sponsorships covering the cost. These textbooks have been used in thousands of colleges and universities. And Course Breaks is currently being offered in all tribal colleges and universities and historically Black colleges and universities. To discuss a corporate or private contribution, visit coursebreaks.com.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
Bonjour, I am Oshawashko Gijig. I'm from Red Lake Nation, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations. Oh. That's great. Lori's supposed to howl also, although she didn't get the memo. We are here with Lori Jump, Chief Executive Officer of StrongHearts Native Helpline.
Welcome back, Lori. We just really think it's important that we talk about this. And since last time I think you've been on, we're on quite a few more stations in Wisconsin, in Illinois, in Michigan. And so our reach is a lot bigger. So I would like to, with the short amount of time we have, just talk more about your program and how people can get help and what the helpline is and the whole thing. So, Lori, I'm going to hand over the show to you.
Yeah, thank you. So again, StrongHearts is a helpline for American Indians and Alaska Natives who've been impacted by domestic violence. And, that really can be all of us, right? We, not only are we talking about survivors of that violence, but family members who might be concerned, friends and family, even people who are just wanting to know whether or not their relationship is healthy or unhealthy. We even take calls from abusive partners. So we're here to help all of our relatives process what they're experiencing, validate their experience, and then hopefully help them find ongoing support in their home communities.
It's interesting. We were joking that I saw you in New Mexico, but when you were tabling, what kind of comments and questions did you get when you were tabling?
Yeah, we had a really good experience there at Gathering of Nations, just trying to get out into the communities to let people know what we're all about. But we had, a number of people who had not heard of us and were very interested to know how they could partner with us. Lots of nurses stopping by the booth and just getting information about how they could approach people that they work with in hospital and clinic settings. Just really very supportive comments. Talked with a couple of people about how they could help their relatives who were experiencing violence and were still in those situations and unsure, how the best way to get out. So we had some really great connections there and conversations.
Plus, I think when I walked up there, I was begging for a free T-shirt, and then I realized it was you. I was like, I know you. It was like I ran into a bunch of people at gatherings that it was like, wow, I haven't seen you in a couple of years, and I'm seeing you here. But yeah, it's exciting to get out there, and the questions are great, and it's just let's just run through it. So we call the helpline, somebody picks up the phone. And what are the hours, and is it 24/7? And just a little bit about that.
Yeah, we've grown so much over the past couple of years. We are 24/7 now. So any time of the day, it doesn't matter if it's a weekend, Monday through Friday, holiday, our advocates are going to be there to help you through, what you're experiencing. And our advocates are all Native American, and so they understand that lived experience and what it's like to be Native in, the United States today. And They're well trained, so they understand what you're experiencing and can just help you process it. We do a lot of education. It's surprising that even today, so many people don't realize what domestic violence is. They all know about the physical part of that, right? But there's so much else that can happen. And so we do a lot of education and safety planning with people. And then at the end of the day, what we really want to do is help them find some culturally appropriate services in their home communities, right? Because we know that they're going to need that ongoing support.
Go ahead, Ogama.
What does culturally appropriate ongoing services look like in our communities? Is that something that you readily have access to in every community? Are there still some I don't know, bald spots? I don't know what to call them, but are there still places where that's not really an option?
Yeah, that's really why Strong Hearts exists, right? Is because that in spite of, some of the funding increases to Indian country, there are still so many tribes that don't have services in their community. One of the first things we did was build a database, right? And so in our database of Native-centered services, we have 267 service providers. That's to serve 574 federally recognized tribes. In our database, we have 59 tribal shelters that serve the entire country, right? And so there are huge swaths of land where there aren't those Native-centered services. And so it can be very hard to find. And we know that our relatives have a hard time reaching out to mainstream programs. And so we're really hopeful that by having a conversation with us first and really understanding what their options are, that if they don't have that option of Native-centered services in their community, that we can provide them with some other options that would be useful to them.
That is so important, that statement. I know Wendy worked in the medical field, and when she said she was married to a Native, it really knocked down walls and really warmed my heart for that fact. And so that is so important. I want to, before we leave you, say the number a few times, because again, people can't see the scrolling on the bottom here because they're listening to us in their car or whatever. But if you could just pop out the number a few more times before we say see you later.
Yeah, our number is 1-844-7-NATIVE. You can also go to our website, StrongHeartsHelpline.org, and there's you can click to call or click to chat with our advocates, on our website as well. So 1-844-7-NATIVE.
That's a great number. Any last statements here? Because this is, again, it's been a great show today because it's a lot of boots on the ground, helping our community and helping us in a good way. So any last comments?
Yeah, we really just want people to know that they're not alone, and that what they're experiencing is not traditional. It's not our way. And to reach out. We have advocates that are just, waiting there to help you.
Wow, so nice. And we want to get you on a little more because we know how important this is and important to get the word out, and especially now too with our reach is getting a lot bigger. So I want to really thank you, Lori, for stopping in and really speaking in a good way of what you guys are doing. And boots on the ground is just phenomenal, right, Wen?
Oh, awesome. Fantastic work, really. You're helping so many people, and hopefully a lot of people are hearing this message tonight, and they'll be making a phone call. I'm sure it's very scary for people to make the first step, and to call and to have the courage to make that first phone call. I mean, they have to be away from their perpetrator or the person who's hurting them. They have to, I think that's really, really brave for people to reach out and get help.
And Lori, before we let you go, I believe after what Wendy was saying there is that it's really important. If you think it's abuse, it's probably abuse. Call and check it out, because there's so many ways that people abuse
other people. It
Right.
could be just, no physical harming. People could have control of your money
Right.
and not
or your phone,
and not
or
have you
weird.
do not have freedom in your own home to be able to live. There's all kinds of different abuse.
So thanks again, Lori, for stopping in.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We'd love to come back and chat with you anytime.
We'll do it a little longer. Thanks again for coming in. Great. All right, we'll see you. Wow, a really good show. I think one thing I want to say before we leave, Wendy and Ogama, is that was a really good show. It was a good one. We're going on vacation, so we're going to see and make sure that the shows are still good. No, I'm
Yes,
just kidding.
and the pet sitters will be here tomorrow afternoon.
Wow, boots on the ground. It was just an amazing show. Thank you so much, Ogama, for the news. Wendy, thank you for being the co-host and making me look good, because gosh knows I need it. And our guest, wow, StrongHearts was just amazing. And also, our new corporate people that we're helping.
Barb Faber, yes, she's awesome.
Little moments
Perfect.
count.
Perfect.
If you're listening to the show, you are part of the resistance. From Chief Plenty Coops, the ground on which we stand on is sacred ground. It is the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office.
Free Leonard Peltier.
The Park Tavern is your go-to destination for fun. Your friends and your family will have a great time with the fantastic food like the